um, for this webinar today. And we will talk a little bit more about our project, what AsCOLA is and what we did. And of course, how do you use the evaluation tool that we have created together? My name is Larinde Koster. I am from RISBO, an educational consultant based at the Erasmus University in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. And together with my colleague Romy van Leeuwen, we will provide and host this webinar for you today. We also welcome our project partners with us today from Thessaloniki and from the European University Foundation. So we're very happy that we have a group of partners present. And we will slowly get started on the webinar. So what are we going to discuss in this hour with you today? Well, of course, we're going to do a small introduction on who we are, on what AsCOLA is, and then talk a little bit more background on why have we created this evaluation tool, and what is the importance when we talk about evaluation in education. And then the suspense is over, and we will go into the tool, and Romy will explain to you how does it look like, how can you use it, and of course, how can you use the results of the tool. And then after about half an hour, 40 minutes, we will have some time for you to ask any questions that you might have related to the tool, the usage of it, or any other things that pop up. So if you have any questions in the meantime, while we are talking, please write them down somewhere, either in the chat or on a notebook somewhere. And please feel free to ask us any questions that you have during the Q&A. After the Q&A, we have some small wrap-up of some important information coming up related to the AsCOLA project. And that is it for this hour. So let's talk a little bit about what we are going to do for this webinar today. We're going to talk about the importance of exchange student evaluations. We're going to explore the use of the tool, so the evaluation tool that we have created in our project. We're going to examine ways to utilize the results. Of course, we would like these results to improve courses and improve the student satisfaction. That's really the main goal as well. And of course, we are going to talk a little bit about how can you use this tool to engage others. So how can we make sure that we have enough people using this tool to really create impact on the evaluation side? So we are going to talk a lot about us and who we are and what we have done, but we would love to hear from you as well on who you are and what you think of evaluation. So we have created a very small poll with 2 questions for you to fill out, so we get to know you a little bit. There are 2 questions in the poll, so please you can scroll down, and there are multiple answers that you can give for the poll, so you can answer multiple answers as well. So I will launch this poll, and please fill out the 2 questions. All right, I see that many of you have filled out the questions. I will wait a couple of seconds more for the final participants to answer. All right, I'm going to share the results of the poll. So I hope you can all see the results. So I see a lot of international relations officers here. Very, very welcome. You will probably use the tool in your practice. Also some faculty and academic advisors, and also some students as well. And then looking into the second question, what do you think is the most impactful outcome of student evaluation? Well, of course, there are many answers here, right? So we will go through them and talk about these outcomes and why we are actually using student evaluations. So it's very interesting to see all of these results. Thank you so much for filling it in. I will stop share. All right. So let's continue a little bit about who we were as a project team before going into talking about the importance of evaluation. So first, we have a project, an Erasmus Plus project, and we have a collaboration between 5 European partners. Our European partners are the Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, who are our project leaders, but also at that university there is a development team, and they are also the programmers of this tool, who are also here with us today. We had a collaboration with Aalto University, with ESN, the Erasmus Student Network, with EUF, the European University Foundation, and us, RISPO, the Erasmus University in Rotterdam. And it was very nice to have this collaboration because, of course, we all experience these exchange with Erasmus Plus students. So when we collaborated and started this project, we really looked into our main goals, and we came up with these main objectives. So we really wanted to find somewhere to enhance and digitalize this quality framework of the Erasmus Plus student mobility. So how can we create something that really focuses on this aspect when we talk about these student mobility programs? And in that, how can we find a better instrument for this data collection and management? We are, of course, aware that many higher education institutes have their own evaluation tools, but can we create it on a more macro level? So the outcome of the project is that we have created an online evaluation tool that higher education institutes can use, and hopefully many will use in the future, so that we all have this unified tool that we work with that gathers this data for us to use and, of course, improve our content. So what is this tool and what have we created? We've made a desk study and talked with HEI staff, so the Higher Education Institute staff, and with students to talk, what would you like to ask in this tool? What kind of information are you interested in? So we developed a questionnaire for this, and they filled it out. And based on that desk study and questionnaire, we made the tool. We've already tested this tool and have looked at it with students, but also with staff. So not only the students who are experiencing these courses, but also the staff that will work with the outcomes of the tool. And there are some notes that we'd like to give you if you would like to implement this tool. So firstly, you're only able to use the tool and fill out the tool if your higher education institutes make use of the OLA, so the Online Learning Agreement, the system for registering the ECTS. So that is one of the stipulations in order to be able to use this tool. The second one is that for faculty members, so if you are behind using this tool, the access to the dashboard is managed at an institution level. So there are staff that will gain access to this, and there's a main hub there that you can use. And finally, also important, that it's not mandatory to use this tool in the future. So it will not become mandatory for an exchange office or for exchange students to work with this if you work with OLA. But of course, we hope and recommend you to use it. So many people and many institutions will use this tool together so that it's all a unified questionnaire. So what is actually in this tool? So based on this desk research, we really looked into all of these components and questions that we would like to know of these students in order to improve our courses. So there are a couple of aspects on this questionnaire, and the questionnaire itself then contains questions on the background information of those students, the general impression of the course, the learning methods of that course, the teacher itself, any cultural differences that might happen, the assessment of the course, the evaluation, and then there are also some open-ended questions. So students can actually give direct feedback to either the teacher or the overall of the course or the institution as well. So this is what the desk study came out, and this is what the actual tool and survey have included. So before we dive into and showing you the practical application of the tool, we would like to talk a little bit about why are we talking about evaluation in this manner. Well, when we look at education, it is, of course, to be aware of the impact that your course have. Because, of course, it's not only about what you want to teach, but mostly about what have that group learned from your course and from the students. So it's really important to incorporate evaluation within courses as well. So when we talk about this tool, we mostly talk about the importance of student evaluation. And from the research that we've done, we came across a couple of components that are really important when talking about evaluations. So the first one, it's all about thinking about how do I refine my quality of the course. So we have found that actually many students, when they sign up for an Erasmus Plus program or for an exchange program, that they really focus on the match that they have in their own academic program and the exchange course offered. And actually about 70% find that one of the most important components. And we often find a mismatch between that expectation and the reality. So that course quality is actually a very important component to look at when we talk about evaluation. So components on that course quality are mostly the relevance of the course. So how relevant is the practical or the theoretical application within the programs? How is the course taught? So what kind of methodology is used within that course? How are the learning goals? Are they clear on what's going to be learned in those courses? And also, what is the responsiveness to change? Do we see a continuation of a change and improvement within course quality? The second aspect that we found is that when we talk about evaluation, we talk about addressing those learning needs, right? To make sure that students get the most out of the courses. So here we really look into academic integration. Is the academic program that they're at the moment, when they go to another program, is there a good integration of knowledge and of the learning needs? But also aspects of the support services. So especially students with maybe special needs or any other questions that they might have. How is the support services available to them? Is it very clear where they can go and who they can talk to? Of course, also important when talking about learning needs, about the learning environment. So not only the online learning environment, maybe the new institution uses a different online learning environment, but also the classes itself, the lectures, the work groups, the interactions that they can have with the students and with the teacher. How is that going? And then really looking into the match of, is the expectation that I have signing up for this course matching the reality that suits my learning needs? And of course, with evaluation, it's very much focused on this feedback culture, right? Making sure that there is continuous improvement with the courses. So here we really can look into the student involvement, what kind of feedback the students give, and how does the teacher and the institute work with that feedback? What does the institution learn from it? How much transparency is there that the feedback is actually being incorporated within courses? And with having a very open feedback culture and making sure there is continuous improvement, it really builds trust, I think, as well within the community. So when we talk about evaluations and especially getting information of the student, these are important aspects. But of course, there is this group, right? This exchange student group that come to a course for a limited amount of time, but really have a lot of experiences. And this group is a very interesting group because they're there in a limited amount of time, but they bring a lot of experience and knowledge with them. And study has shown that actually this group is very vocal about feedback. They give a lot of feedback to the courses because they really want to gain and get the most out of the time that they have. But also their experiences differ a lot from local students, right? You're there as a host, as a guest for an amount of time, and you might not be familiar with the new teaching or the way that the education is set up. So they experiences lots of different things compared to the local students. So their feedback is actually very valuable. But also this group can struggle more with maybe language or cultural barriers. Most often, of course, the academic language of the course is the same language, but there's a lot of other experiences that happen with going on exchange. So getting more information on that is important because this group has a different sense of belonging. And of course, when we talk about sense of belonging, it really talks a lot about how do you feel at home at the course that you are at the institute. And also, there is so much choice, right, to find a good course that you want to do your exchange on. And they do experiences having difficulties with selecting those exchange courses and getting that information from them. So overall, when we talk about these aspects, we found that it's not always addressed in general course evaluations. And that's why it's particularly interesting to talk with this group and gain experience of this group and to use that to improve your course and evaluation. So when we go back to the general, why is it important to have student evaluations, we actually want to put another point next to that and really looking into, okay, student evaluation is very important and we want to do that for those reasons, but also we really want to make sure that that group, that guest group, those exchange students really have an improved mobility experience. And here we really want to focus on making sure that this group of students experience course choice confidence. So making sure that they find a right match between their own academic program and the exchange courses that they have. But also that we allow them to really show their diverse perspectives about the new culture that they are, the new institute that they arrive at, to really make sure that we provide smoother transitions for these exchange student programs and really make sure that we highlight the value of mobility to make sure that students are able to explain their experiences and gain a lot out of that exchange program that they are a part of. So this is a little bit about the background of what we have done and why we have chosen to have a standardized kind of tool that higher education institutes can use. So we will not keep you in suspense any longer, and we will dive deeper into what does the tool look like and how you can use it.
Yes, thank you, Laurinda, for explaining so much already about the background of the tool. We have said the tool many times now, so I think everyone is very curious, what does it look like? So I am gonna share my screen with you. So let me see, I will share my screen. So we can actually have a look at the actual tool. Is everybody able to see my screen? And also able to see the tool?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Great. So let's start with the both perspectives that we will explain. So there are two perspectives in this tool. So we have the student side of the tool and we have the HIE staff, so the higher education staff, I will just call them staff for now, side of the tool. And we will start off with the student side. So you're already looking at it right now. So students can log in with their My Academic ID to log in to the tool. And when they do, they get redirected to this page of the tool. And here at this page, you can see that there are like these 3 rows in the left corner, and they can either choose for My Evaluations and All Evaluations. And I will explain briefly what both options do. So we start with All Evaluations. So here students can browse through existing evaluations of exchange courses to, well, help them decide on the courses they want to apply for. And it's good to note here that only exchange courses from higher education institutions that agree to display their courses in the tool are visible here. So that's a good side note to keep in mind. So students here can search for specific courses via the search bar that we have here. And they can do that by the title of the course, or they can do that by course code. So here you see a list of courses that are available right now. And let us have a look at the results for a painting course. So when you click on a course that you want to have a look at, you see, first of all, some information about the course. So in the top bar, you see the course title, the course code, academic term, the ECTS, and the institution where the course is at. And below that information, you can see the different themes of the survey, of the evaluation survey. And here you can find, as a student, you can find the information or the results from the already filled in evaluation survey that by other students. So this will help you to see like, okay, how is this course evaluated? So per team, there is like a different bar that you can click on. And all outcomes are located there per statement and per topic. And we can click on a team bar to open the results. So here I click on general impression, then I see the results on there. You can see that most questions in the survey are answered on a 5-point scale. And here you can see that the numbers in the bars, they show the number of students that chose a specific answer option. So when you also go over it, you can see that some more information pops up about the results. So you can do that for every different element there. So students can basically browse also through the evaluations that are already filled in. However, that's not the only thing that students are able to do in this side of the tool. And for the other parts to show you, I have to go to our more development area because I am not a student, I haven't been in a long time. So I will show you what it looks like for a student to fill in a questionnaire. For that, I go here. Again, you have this bar on the left. You have all evaluations and my evaluations, and to fill in a survey, so to fill in an evaluation for a course that you followed yourself as a student, in an exchange setting, you click on My Evaluation. You are redirected to this page. And there you can see all the courses that you already took part in your exchange. So if you want to evaluate a certain course, you go to that specific course. So let's say mathematics. And you click on Create New Evaluation. So let's do that. And here you see the different questions that you can fill in for the survey. And I will quickly show you this. I identify as a female and my age is 29. I go to the next step. And here I see a list of questions that I can answer on a 5-point scale. So I can just click here. Well, I agree with every statement. It was a very good course. So then I can just click on next step, etc., until I'm at the end and I can submit my filled in survey. So now by doing that, I as a student have evaluated the course that I joined in my exchange. So that's from the student side of the tool. Now let's move over to the side of the higher education institution, so for the staff. So, of course, the higher education institution wants to see the results from the course evaluation because that's the most important part to also improve the courses based on that. So staff can log into the EWP dashboard with their credentials, with their just regular credentials, and they can and the access to this dashboard that is managed at an institution level, like Laurinde already mentioned before. So if you are interested in accessing this dashboard and you don't have access yet, please refer to your international relations office. And we know that we have a lot of those people here present, so probably a lot of you already have access to the dashboard. So on the sidebar of this homepage that you will be redirected to when you log in, you can see course evaluations here below. So this is where we go to. So let's click here. And here you can see a list of all the courses that are available with evaluations. So you can search for a course in the list, or you can use the filter tool to find the course you want to look at. So here you see the filter tool. You can use course code as a filter, or you can use course title to easily find the specific course you want to have a look at. To show you what the results look like in this perspective, we will just have a look at the first one, business administration. So here you can see that the data from the evaluation is collected per team of the survey. So basically the same as students are able to see the data, only the layout is a bit different. So on the tabs here, you can see the different teams of the survey, and when clicking on it, you get to see the different outcomes per statement that is related to this team. You can look at the general impression of the course, the learning methods, they feel about the teacher, cultural differences, and again, these numbers indicate how many students chose this specific answer. So that gives you more insight on how the answers are scattered among the 5-point scale. Well, of course, it's already interesting to look at the data here, but it's also possible to export the data. And by doing so, you can click on this button, export. And when you click on this button, you will get a PDF document with the outcomes that you can use in your own way and however you would like. So basically, this is very quickly what the tool looks like. It's very intuitive, I would say, and it has a nice overview of information in here. I can imagine that you maybe have some questions about how the tool looks like or how you can use this for yourself. And we will come back to that at the end of the webinar in the Q&A session. So please put your questions in the Q&A part, and maybe already our other partners can answer some of those questions. And if not, we will save them for the end of the webinar. Let me go back to the PowerPoint slides. Is everybody able to see my slides now while switching screens? Yes?
Yes.
Great, technology is working. So we have now explained the importance of evaluation, and we have also showed you how you can use the evaluation tool from both perspectives, so from the student perspective and the staff perspective. But another important thing to keep in mind is how do you use the outcomes of the evaluations effectively? So that's what we're going to discuss now. You can use the outcomes of the evaluation in multiple ways. For example, you can use it to identify key insights, trends, and challenges, and compare the outcomes over time and also across courses to spot recurring issues or also successes in those courses. In addition, and secondly, you can translate the feedback into action. So you can use the feedback to adapt the course design, like the content, the teaching methods, and the resources maybe, based on feedback on difficulty levels or also relevance, so feedback that you received in this survey. But you can also, and very importantly, address inclusivity gaps based on feedback on cultural challenges. And next to that, you can use the outcomes to adapt training or support of teachers. And lastly, the feedback can be used to close the feedback loop. So it's important to show the outcomes of the evaluation to both students, but also to staff in order to get them engaged. And we will talk about that also a bit more later on. And it's important then to share with them how their feedback is used of an evaluation tool or an evaluation in general is much dependent on in what ways stakeholders that should be using the tool are engaged. So how do you make sure that these relevant stakeholders make use of this evaluation tool? And we identify 3 different stakeholders. For that, we have faculty, so that's also including teachers of exchange courses. We have students, of course, the exchange students themselves. And we also have a more broader perspective on more program offices and administrators, etc. So let's start on how can you engage the faculty? So for the faculty, it's important to highlight that the tool supports professional growth of the institution and of themselves, so as teachers, and you can provide them with, for example, workshops on how to use the data. Also, it can help to share best practices based on the tool to inspire them. So that's also a way to engage your teachers and other faculty with using the tool. However, without students, there are no evaluation data to begin with. So it's very important that students are also motivated to fill in an evaluation, which is often something that is quite difficult to achieve because sometimes students don't actually see the added value of filling in an evaluation. So also for students, we have a short list of ideas on how to engage them with the tool. So it is important to show them examples of how previous feedback is used. So what already is a nice added value of this AsCOLA tool, this evaluation tool, is that students are able to actually see what others evaluated in other courses. So they can actually see like, oh, okay, other students also filled in an evaluation. So that can already maybe work motivating. However, it's also important to show examples of how the feedback is used in practice. So how are you going to improve based on the feedback that was previously given by other students? Next to that, it's important for them that they feel like they can answer their questions anonymously, which is what's happening within this tool, to encourage them to give honest feedback, because we need honest feedback in order to improve the courses well enough. And lastly, you can also show them some more visual information in the form of maybe infographics or videos to explain how their input matters. So maybe it's good to explain at the start of a course already to students why it is important that they share their ideas and opinions within this evaluation, so that it can be used to improve the education in the end and the experience for other students also. Lastly, we have some engagement tips for program officers and administrators. To engage them, you can appoint ambassadors to promote the tool across different faculties and departments, and people that just are sort of a cheerleader for the tool and get other people excited and motivated to use it. That's a very important first step to have. It's also good to foster collaboration to address major issues that maybe get identified by the outcomes of the tool. And also, it's important to sort of celebrate contributions of the stakeholders to encourage their engagement. So, just show people that many students already used it, or many faculty are using it to improve their courses, to be sure that other people get inspired by that too. So basically, it's like a chain of events. One person is excited and they get other people excited too. That's what we are looking for here. Okay, so we've now explained to you a lot about the project of AsCOLA. We explained about the importance of evaluations. We have showed you what the tool looks like and how it works. And we also discussed how to use the results and get people engaged with the tool. So by that, we will come to the Q&A part of this webinar. So please, if you have any questions, you can share them there. And we can already answer your questions in the meantime. So I'm going to quickly stop sharing my screen so that we can just have a look at everyone there and see what questions there are in the Q&A. So I see that there are already a lot of questions answered by our colleagues. Thank you very much for doing so.
Indeed. I was also already looking at the questions. Thank you, everybody, for sending it in. I do see some questions that talk about the same topic, so maybe that is something that we can discuss live in that sense. And one that I saw coming up quite a lot is about this giving consent for all courses or per course. Who gives the consent, the institute or evaluation? So maybe I can invite one of our partners to talk a little bit about how this works when you would like to use the course or the tool. Nikos.
Yes. Hello. Hello to everyone. Thank you all for joining this webinar. Thank you for our colleagues at RISBO for setting this up and running it. Excellent so far. So it's a great pleasure being here. The question about the consent, it's something I think that troubles many universities. It's per university, per institution. It's not per course, and there will be a specific functionality in the dashboard, in the EWP dashboard, that will be realized soon, that will be developed soon, and will be one of the next functionalities and the next things that we are going to make live. So it will be per institution, and it will be the decision of the institution as a whole to make these evaluations visible to all students or not, and keep them for themselves and for their own internal quality assurance processes.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. I also saw some questions regarding, do you only see the results of your own institute, or is that access to anybody? Is there able to have more view on that? Is that something that we can explain more? Yes, IT team.
Okay. Greetings, everyone. Thank you very much for this event. It's indeed been going very well. As for what kind of results of the evaluation users will be able to see, right? And this comes a bit from the consent answer. It's a kind of an extension. And for higher education institutions that will indeed consent for their evaluations to be visible by everyone, users will be able to see all or aggregate evaluation data from the all evaluations module. Apart from that, of course, they are only gonna be able to view their own. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your answer. I also saw some questions relating to evaluation in general, that many institutions, of course, offer their own evaluation for their students. And they were wondering, is this tool exclusively only for the exchange students, or is there a way that we can combine to have an overall view of a student evaluation? Yes, Nikos.
Yeah. It's mainly about the exchange students and those using the online learning agreement at this point. So it cannot be extended, and you cannot invite other students and there are many questions about that as well. So I think that we need to make clear that all data are automatically extracted and incorporated in the tool by the online learning agreement. So there is no need to set up any connection. There is no need to do anything if you are using the EWP dashboard. if any colleagues are using a third-party software, a third-party provider software, then the project has already developed an API so as to link this software with the tool. So also other colleagues can make use of this possibility of this evaluation tool, provided that their provider will link the tool with the software. However, still, this means that it will be also about data from exchange students, Erasmus students that are within the Erasmus ecosystem, I would say, in a general term. Hopefully, in the future, we might also link the tool with other QA functionalities, and so we could invite more students to do that. I think probably this answers the question.
Great. Thank you, Nikos. You answered two questions in one, so that's great to link that. I also saw another question about the use of the tool, mostly focusing on, can students themselves filter by potential host university or by faculties? And instead of exporting an Excel file with the list of courses, can you also change that a little bit? So are there options there for students to choose which evaluation to pick, and also for the export of the data? Yes.
Yeah, I think that the colleagues will be bored listening to me, but I have an answer to this question as well. Students, for the time being, going in the all evaluations option that Romy showed to us, they can see all evaluations from all universities that incoming students have filled in an evaluation for a course. So there is a column there that says institution, and there is, for the time being, the SHA code, which is, I would say, the URL in a way. But it will be improved. It will include the name, the full name of the university. So in the search functionality, they can search for the courses that for the destination of the desired destination, there were or not, there might not be some evaluations. So if there are evaluations for the specific university, and this is why we say that this tool is not useful only for the universities, for the students that they have evaluations for the students that have already participated in the program, so as to see what was the impact for these students, but also for prospective students that they want to see the evaluations and what is the offer from different universities. And this is also why we implemented that way, so as to make visible all courses from all universities that have received incoming Erasmus students at some point, and there were some evaluations. So yeah, they can go there, they can filter, typing just the name, for the time being the URL, but in the future, the near future, the name of the university, and they can see if there are any evaluations per course, of course.
Great, thank you. Thank you for your comprehensive answers. Really helps. Going to look through the list to see if there's any more questions.
Yeah, I see an interesting question. Well, all of the questions are interesting, but one that we haven't discussed yet, I think. So it is, of course, possible that students use language in their open-ended answers, or that we don't like, that we don't want to see. So is there anything built in that we can use to sort of filter out such answers of students?
I'm not quite sure whether we got the question of the colleague. So it's in the student side tool or it's in the university side. So
yeah, I think then it would be the university side that sees that students have filled in language that we don't want to see in there.
To see as a university, right? So not to make it probably visible to other colleagues within the university.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think probably the answer here is that in the AWP dashboard, there are certain accounts that have access. So it's not all university, all faculty members, all staff members having access to the dashboard. I apologize for the background noise, but it's the day ceremonies, graduation ceremonies today. So So the thing is that there are certain colleagues having access there. And this is why there is this very great functionality of exporting the results. So IRO colleagues that have access to the dashboard can go through that. They can filter them. They can decide whether they are going to share the results of these evaluations. So I think that there is a level of filtering and of deciding who sees what. So it's at the hands of the IROs and the colleagues that are managing the accounts that they can disseminate further or they can exploit further the results of this. So we have the opt-out for not making visible to all students. And we also have certain accounts that have access to these results in the dashboard. So I think it can be contained, I would say, if it's something that needs to be contained in any way.
Thank you for your elaborate answer. And I see another question here about maybe having access to some sort of demo environment, something like a demo student, or also maybe a demo environment from the staff side. Is that possible to get for other institutions who are interested?
Regarding a development environment, I don't think it would be very wise to have it just open like that for everyone. But there has been a piloting phase that has basically, of course, piloted, so demoed the project thus far. And yeah, I think I'm not sure if that could be added.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Nico,
Thank
what do you
you.
want to add?
I would say that I'm not quite sure the use of this demo student request from Berenice, but as you have already presented and we have already made possible through the project that there will be short video tutorials for students and staff members, and they are probably already available in the YouTube account. Helena, I'm not quite sure which account is that. I think it's the EUF account, right? So we can share with all colleagues participating in this webinar, and we can of course go through that and see the environment a little bit.
Yes, thank you. And to add to that, yes, we have created also how-to guides for people who would like to use it. So if you would like to already start using with the tool, we welcome you into our pilot phase to really have a look into what it is and how you can use it. But further information on the dissemination, how you would like to use the tool, we have created several guides and videos for people who would like to use this in practice. And we will share this with you as well at the end to work with the tool itself.
I don't know, Laurinte, if this is probably the point, because you mentioned the piloting of the project, to invite colleagues that are participating in this webinar and that might be interested in joining us in the piloting phase, because it's already in production, but we have set up as a project a specific piloting phase, a pilot for using the tool from the student side and from the university side. So if there are dashboard users that might be interested in that, they can contact us. I think we can put also our email in the chat so as to reach out to the project coordinator and onboard them. We need to do it as soon as possible. If there are any interested colleagues, we need to do it in April, this one. So yeah, if anyone is interested, they are welcome to join and see firsthand also how the tool should be implemented and used by the universities.
Nikos,
Yes.
where can people share with you that they are interested to join a pilot? Is there an email address we can share with them?
We will type it in the chat, and all colleagues can see our email, so they can contact us directly. Yeah.
Perfect. Yes, thank you so much. I'm also looking at the time. So I think we are coming to an end of the webinar, and I can imagine that maybe there are some questions still open. And therefore, we also invite you to just contact us if you have more questions about the tool. But seeing the time, we do have to continue with our less information. And for that, I'm going to share my screen again. Let's see. There it is again, because we also wanted to share with you what's next for the AsCOLA project and also for the tool. And a very exciting thing that's next is the wrap-up conference of our project. So we will wrap up our project on the 6th of May this year in Brussels during a conference. And everybody here that is participating here, or maybe also people that you know who would like to join, you're all welcome to join to learn more about the AsCOLA project and the evaluation tool together with us. We will also discuss how to use evaluation data to improve course quality. And during that conference, we will also explore more about the challenges and opportunities in ensuring the quality of international higher education. So if you are interested, please note that we will send out an email to all of the people that are here, so to all participants of this webinar, to share with you more about this conference and also share with you how you can sign up to join this conference. So that's very exciting thing. That's what's next. Sorry?
I said indeed.
Oh.
and Ron, there is already in the chat the link to the article in the website with the registration link and all the rest that Helena just posted. So I think colleagues can already go there and register.
Perfect. So I encourage everyone to click on the link and register to the conference, also to meet everyone in person. So another thing that we would like to ask you is, of course, we are talking a lot about evaluations. We are preaching the importance of evaluations. So therefore, we would also like to ask you to briefly evaluate the webinar of today. And to do so, you can either use your phone and scan the QR code that's on the left of this slide, or you can go to slido.com, which is also at the screen, and you can type in the code that we see here. So that's 7092636. I will give you a few seconds to do so, to go to this webpage and open the survey for us. So hopefully everybody has it open right now. Of course, feel free to give an answer to these questions when you are out of this webinar. It's much appreciated, and we will also learn from your valuable feedback in order to also improve our webinar skills. So by that, we come to an end of this webinar, and we want to thank you for your attention. And I also want to thank Laurinde and our partners that were present during this webinar and gave a lot of valuable answers to the Q&A questions that we had. And also many thanks to all the participants that joined here for this hour to experience the AsCOLA tool together with us. And I'm just wondering if there are any additions from our partners. No? Okay.
Just to thank you, Romy, Laurinde again, and all the colleagues. I think we are all very proud of this project. I think we will have a great impact to student mobility, and an extended thank you from all of us at the project management team as well to all of you and all participants. I think it's exciting, really exciting. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikos. Okay.
Thank you all. Enjoy your afternoon wherever you are. And we will keep in touch and keep you updated on the AsCOLA project. But thank you for being here.
Thank you. Have a nice afternoon.